Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Katarina and today we'll go through a flow specifically focusing on the hips. So if you've got any tightness around the hips, this flow is probably really good for you. We'll get straight into it and we'll start lying down on our backs. So you can roll all the way onto the mat and we'll bend through the knees, bringing the soles of the feet together and then open the knees out, coming into a Supta Padangusthasana. You can either rest your arms by your sides on the mat or on the floor, or if you want to bring one hand onto your belly and one hand onto your heart center, you can do that too. If Supta Padangusthasana is not a comfortable pose for you, maybe for the hips or the knees, you can always straighten the legs out or support with blocks. So we start to arrive onto our mats in this first pose. See if you can relax through the entire body for a moment. Starting to drop into yourself, into your body, into this moment. The knees can grow heavier. The hips are heavy too. The spine is really long and the shoulders melt down. The back of the neck is long too. And the face is soft. Coming into a place of stillness and presence. Being so very aware of the body, of the breath. And see if you can keep this kind of a state of mind, state of presence throughout the practice that we're going to go through. We'll take a deep inhale in through the nose. Fill the lungs up. And then you can open the mouth, sigh the air out. We'll do that again. Inhale in. And then open the mouth. Sigh the air out. Beautiful. You can then release your hands. We'll help the knees a little bit closer to each other. We'll straighten the left leg out. Hug your right knee in towards the chest. You can create little circles with the knees. So you find a little bit of movement for the right side of the hip. Seeing how the thigh bone interacts with the hip bone. And then we're going to start to come towards a half happy baby pose. So you can grab a hold of the right ankle with your right hand. Perhaps you reach all the way for the right side of the foot or maybe the right big toe. And start to guide the right knee towards the right armpit. The left side of the hip grows heavier. You can even rest your hand over the left leg. And breathe. Take one more inhale. And then as we exhale, we bend through the left knee. You can place your foot onto the mat and then cross the right ankle over the left knee. We then lift the legs up and see if you can cross your fingers behind the left thigh. Or maybe even over the left shin. Coming into a figure four stretch for the right glute. Inhale. Then as we exhale, we release the left foot back onto the mat. You can place your hands by your side, pressing the palms onto the mat. And then we press the left heel down, lifting the hips up into a variation of a bridge pose here. See if you can walk your shoulders closer to each other underneath the upper back. And lift up the hips for one more inhale. And then exhale, release back down. We'll extend the right leg out straight and then hug the left knee in towards the chest. Maybe creating small circles with the knee just to wake up the left side of the hip and the left leg. And then we start to reach for the ankle or the foot, coming into our half happy baby pose. Right side of the hip grounds down as we draw the left knee towards the armpit. Staying with the breath, staying very present. Inhale. And then we bend the right knee, placing the left foot, the left ankle over the right knee. Then hugging the legs towards you. Grab a hold behind the thigh or over the shin. See which feels better for you. We breathe in towards the left glute. Releasing through the shoulders. Inhale. Then we drop the right foot back onto the mat. Place your hands firmly onto the mat, palms pressing down. We press the right heel down as we lift the hips up. See if you can guide your left knee towards the left as you push, lifting up through the hips, maybe walking the shoulders or the shoulder blades a little bit closer to each other behind the back. Inhale, and then exhale, release back down. We then hug both knees in towards the chest. You can gently rock from side to side. And then maybe grab a hold behind the knees. We're going to rock up and down a few times. The entire length of the spine. And maybe with the third one, you cross your ankles, coming all the way over them onto all fours. Beautiful. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We inhale, dropping the heart down as we find a cow pose. Reach up through the chin. Exhale, drawing in as you round the spine, chin towards the chest. And inhale, lift, open, drop the heart. And exhale, round, draw in. And inhale to lift. Exhale, round. Beautiful. Then finding a neutral spine. We're going to inhale the right leg up behind us. Find length in the spine, open through the chest. And then as we exhale, we bend through the knee, start to draw the right knee towards the right tricep. And then as we inhale, we kick back again. And exhale, open through the hip, bend the knee and draw it in. Good, we'll do that once more. Inhale. So really creating big movement through the leg, through the hip. Beautiful. We reach the right leg back behind us, inhaling. And then as we exhale, we hug the right knee in towards the chest and see if you can step it forward between the hands. You can scoot the left knee back a little bit if you need to, and then reaching up, we find a low lunge position. Well done. Take an inhale, reach higher. And as you exhale, see if you can drop a little bit deeper into the hips, finding length in the left hip flexor. Take one more inhale. As we exhale, we circle our hands back down. You can tuck the left toes, move your weight back onto the left knee. We straighten out through the right leg. You can keep a micro bend in the knee. See if you can keep a really long spine here. Gazing towards the top of the mat, pulling the shoulders back, chest reaching forward. Inhale, lengthen. Then we're going to untuck the toes and sit over the left heel. See if you can fold over the right leg, finding length here. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. And then as we exhale, we roll the spine back up, placing the left hand behind us. We start to lift up through the hips. See if you can reach your right arm up and over. Now, the further you have your left hand onto the side, the easier this will be. So if it's a bit intense, you can move your left hand towards the side of the mat. The more intense you want it to be, the closer you can bring your left hand to the left foot. Beautiful. Opening up through the chest, pushing the hips up. We take an inhale. And then as we exhale, we start to circle round through the left side of the mat, bend through the right knee, and we find a lizard pose at the top of the mat. Beautiful. So the right toes can point towards the right side of the mat. You can open your knee that way a little bit too. See what feels best. Now you can either stay here or you can tuck the left toes under and lift the knee up. You can sway from side to side or back and forth. And if you want to, you can also come down onto your forearms, breathing into the right inner thigh, the left hip flexor. And dropping back into that presence with your body, with your breath, in case you lost that contact for a bit. We then rise back up onto our hands and we bring the right foot a little bit closer. Now tucking the left toes under, we lift the knee off the mat, reach the right arm up. Beautiful. See if you can point your right knee towards the top of the mat. Lengthen through the arms. Inhale. And then as we exhale, we start to walk our right foot around towards the center of the mat, coming onto the outer edge of the left foot. Take an inhale here, lift up through the hips. And as we exhale, we drop the hips close to the mat. You can tap them onto the mat, still keeping that left leg engaged. Left side of the foot pressing onto the mat. Inhale, reach up again. And then exhale, tapping the mat with the left side of the hip. We do that once more. Inhale. And then exhale, tap the mat. Now we stay here and see if you can bring your weight all the way down. And we come into a Gomukhasana. So knees crossed over each other. We have the right knee crossed over the left. And see if you can bring both sitting bones onto the mat. Lengthening through the spine, we drop the shoulders down. And then breathe here. If you like to go deeper in this pose, you can always fold over the legs. We'll stay here for 2 more cycles of breath. Make them deep, make them intentional. And then starting to come out of this pose the same way we came. So you can reach your left hand towards the top of the mat, bringing your weight over to the left hand and planting your right foot towards the top of the mat. You can press the left outer edge of the foot onto the mat, reach the right arm up, inhale. And then as you exhale, you can circle the right hand onto the mat, stepping into a plank pose. Beautiful. You can drop your knees or keep them lifted. We'll go through a vinyasa. Halfway or all the way onto the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a few deep breaths here, coming into your first down dog of this practice. Reaching the sitting bones towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Pressing both palms firmly onto the mat. Turning your triceps in, hugging them in, length through the spine. Take one more inhale. And then as we exhale, we release our knees onto the mat. From here, we inhale the left leg up behind us. Inhale, length. And then as we exhale, open through the hip, bend through the knee, and start to draw the knee in towards the left tricep. Good. Then inhale, length, open. Exhale, draw the knee in. And length, kick back. And once more, draw the knee in. We kick the left foot back. Inhale. And then draw the left knee in towards the chest and see if you can step the foot forward. You can move the right knee back if you need to. We find our low lunge position here. Lengthen through the sides of the body, through the arms. And then as we exhale, we drop the hips a little bit closer to the mat. Breathing here. Squaring through the hips. We inhale. And then as we exhale, circle the hands back down, move your weight back, straighten through the left leg. Length through the spine, fingertips can stay on the mat. If you're feeling a bit tight in the hamstring, you can also bring your hands onto the shin. We inhale, lengthen. And then as we exhale, we start to sit back all the way over the right heel. Coming even lower over that left leg. You can also always keep a slight bend in the knee here. Beautiful. We find length for one more inhale. And then as we exhale, rolling the spine back up, bringing your right hand either quite close to the right foot if you're feeling quite flexible here, or maybe a little bit further from it. We're going to start to reach up through the hips, reach the left arm over. Beautiful, reach up. Pushing the hips a little bit higher, open through the chest. Take an inhale. And then as we exhale, we start to circle round towards the top of the mat. Left knee bends. We find that lizard pose. So left toes, left knee pointing towards the left side of the mat. You can bring your hands onto the mat. Either keep the knee grounded on the mat or lift it up, tucking the toes under. So many variations in lizard. You can also come down onto the forearms. Whichever variation you're in, see if you can really find presence for a moment. Stillness. Maybe pausing there for a moment with the breath. Take an inhale. And then we exhale, pushing back onto the palms. If you were on your forearms, you can bring the left knee in a little bit, tucking the right toes under. We lift the knee off the mat, left arm reaches up. Now pointing the left knee straight towards the left toes. Inhale, lengthen. And then as we exhale, we start to move the left foot back a little bit, turning onto the outer edge of the right foot. Lengthen here. And then exhale, tap the hips down. And then inhale, lift up and lengthen. And then exhale, tap down. We'll do that once more. Inhale. And then exhale, lower the hips down. Start to bend through the right knee so that you can gather the legs on top of each other. So see which variation of this pose you want to come into today. The knees obviously don't need to stack right over each other. You can keep the position a bit more open too. What we aim for is both sitting bones evenly grounded on the mat. And then you can find length in the spine. You can drop the shoulders, maybe even close the eyes for a moment as you settle into this breath. Folding over the legs is always an additional option here, if you like. Take one final cycle of breath. Exhale out. You can reach your right hand towards the top of the mat. See if you can plant the left foot down, reaching the right foot towards the back of the mat. Inhale up. And then as we exhale, you can circle both hands down, step into a plank pose. We go through a vinyasa of your choice, upward facing dog or cobra, and then finally a downward facing dog. Well done. Take a full breath in and exhale out. With our next inhale, we reach the right leg up behind us. And then as we exhale, draw the right knee towards the right wrist and find a pigeon pose for the legs here. You can slide the left leg back and then adjust through the hips to make sure this feels okay. just to make sure this is a pigeon that suits your hips, your body today. You can lengthen through the spine, drop the shoulders back and down. And then as we exhale, we fold over the right leg. We take a few deep breaths here. Really digging into that right glute. See if with every exhale you can settle a little bit deeper. Take one more inhale. And then find your way back onto the hands. We'll simply tuck the left toes under and step into a downward facing dog. We'll switch the legs, so inhale the left leg up behind us. And then exhale, draw the left knee in towards the left wrist and slide the right leg back. We lengthen through the spine, open up through the chest, and then once you're ready, you can fold over the leg. Settling into this pose, into this stretch, starting to deepen the breath. We take one more deep inhale in. And then as you exhale, find your way back onto the hands. This time we're going to simply swing the right leg forward and bring the feet together at the top of the mat. Knees pointing out. So bringing your legs into a sort of diamond shape. You can decide whether you want to keep your feet a little bit further or bring them all the way in, close to the sitting bones. Wherever you are, bring length into the lower back and then start to fold over the legs there. You can keep your hands on the feet or maybe walk them forward towards the top of the mat. And breathe here. You can keep the neck long or maybe release it over the feet. Breathing into the hips, into the inner thighs. And we take one more final big breath in. And then exhale, roll the spine up. You can reach your fingertips forward. And then vertebra by vertebra, we're going to release the entire back onto the mat. Keeping your knees pointing out, soles of the feet together, just like we did in the beginning, if that feels comfortable for you. We're coming to the end of our practice. If you prefer to take a bit of stillness in Shavasana with your legs out straight, you can do that too, or stay here for a few breaths with me. You can bring one hand onto the heart center, one hand onto the belly too. Start to connect back to your body. Meeting it in this softer, still place. Letting go of the movement and the effort. And just being with your body and being with the breath for a few moments. Can you observe if there's still some small muscles, maybe some small tension around the hips that could be released with your next exhale? Maybe making the hips a little bit heavier, making the lower back a little bit longer. Maybe the knees move a little bit closer to the mat. We take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, you can bring your knees back together with the help of your hands. Hugging them in towards the chest. You can gently sway from side to side. And then in your own style, in your own rhythm, whenever you're ready, you can find your way back up into a seat. The eyes can remain closed as we move slowly out of our practice. And once you arrive into your seat, create a long spine. Shoulders are soft as you take one more big breath in here. In through the nose, fill the lungs up entirely, stopping, pausing at the very top, holding on to the breath, and then open the mouth, sigh the air out. You can bring your hands to heart center when you're ready. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope it felt good in your body, in your mind, in your heart. If you enjoy practicing with me, please do subscribe to my channel. Leave me a thumbs up and also leave me a comment in the comment section. I love hearing what you think of the flows and also love getting requests for different kinds of yoga practices. I post a new flow every week on Thursdays, so I'm here next week as well if you want to practice with me. Thanks so much.